Just breathe. 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 Just breathe.
All right, welcome to the Surf Run channel. We are 4 weeks out from the San Diego Rock and Roll Marathon, week 12 of 16 weeks in training for the San Diego Rock and Roll Marathon, which is held on June 4th, Sunday in beautiful San Diego. And I'm here at Skyview Park on a beautiful Sunday afternoon or late morning, and gosh, it's just amazing out today. We had some rain. It was actually quite cool and rainy in the beginning of the week, and we're capping the week with spectacular weather. It's just a little bit of wind, beautiful clouds, really warm. The flowers are blooming again with so much rain that we've had. It's really pretty this time of year, especially with all the rain that we've had, historic rain. So yeah, all right, we are 12 weeks into it already, and I had a good week. I ran 50 miles. That was my goal, nailed it. I ran a 20-mile long run, nailed it. That was my 5th of 5, so I'm done with the long runs, done with the 20-mile runs. So I feel good about that. So I'm hitting all of my goals. I'm hitting all of my sessions. My runs all have purpose and intent, and I'm following through with that. Again, this week I got some, let's see, on Tuesday we did some hills and speed work. Actually did 100-meter sprints between the hill repeats, which was, I just haven't been doing much speed work, so I know how valuable it is to do. So that felt great to just be absolutely exhausted from that workout. Ended up doing, I think, 11 miles on Tuesday. And yeah, that was great. I know I should be getting more speed work into it. The reason why I say that my long runs haven't been exactly what I've hoped they would be is because I feel like I've been missing that one component from my training, which is like routinely doing speed work, be it on a track or just doing, you know, repeats along the bike path or whatever. That's one thing that's been missing from my training. I've been getting all the tempo runs in, I've been getting the long runs, I've been doing the hill repeats, I've been doing the cross training. The speed work is what I'm missing. I think that's the difference between running 20 miles at an 8-minute per mile pace average and running 20 miles at a 7:30 per mile average. So with all of that, again, I still have 4 weeks, but I'm kind of feeling like this isn't going to be a PR race. This is just going to be this will be a race in which I'm going to put a good solid effort in, and I'm going to try and go for definitely a challenging time, but I'm not pushing to go PR. There's just no way. That's just not going to happen. Plus, taking into consideration the type of training I'm going to be doing right after the finish of this race. I've got a much bigger race coming up at the end of this year that just 2 weeks after the finish of this marathon, I need to start training again hard. So yeah, this week was good. Like I said, I got my 50 miles in, I got my long run in, I got all my workouts in. The only thing I didn't do this week was cross training. I ended up doing my long run on Friday, and that's typically one of the days I do cross training, so I didn't do that, but I will be back into cross training this next week. The next 2 weeks will be 40-mile weeks, more cross training. I'm not doing 20 miles, I'll be doing 16-mile runs, and I'll be doing 16-mile runs, progression runs, meaning I'll be running every mile a little bit faster than the previous mile, right? So maybe I'll start at 8 minutes per mile, but I'll finish at 7:30 per mile. Progression runs are absolutely one of my favorite runs, super beneficial. They work for me anyways, to be able to run faster and stronger at the end of a challenging run is both, you know, a physical challenge and reward, but also I think just from a mental perspective, the idea that, you know, I can get stronger because I'm going to need that, right? We're going to need that at those final few miles of a marathon. We really need to start pushing it. But yeah, so that was last week. This is next week. Again, 40-mile weeks coming up for me. Let's see. Yeah, so I think as far as the course goes, I think I mentioned in the previous vlog that I was going to start kind of discussing course strategy. And if we were to start that this week, it would be the start of the race through mile 8. And if I remember correctly, the course is, I'm just going to say it's flat for the first 8 miles, but I know it's not. I know it's punctuated with a few hills, really short, like little climbs and descents. And I think it does actually kind of have a slight gain in elevation, but it's kind of imperceptible, especially that early in the race. So you really won't notice it. I'm just going to call it flat. And you start off in the park of Balboa Park. It's really pretty there. It's really green. It's open. And then you start going, you make a sharp right turn, I think mile 1, and now you're running down a boulevard with businesses kind of lining the streets. And that's where there's a lot of spectators, a lot of energy, and you run that for a few miles, and then you go into a neighborhood and kind of a windy, turny neighborhood with houses and big trees on either side. So that's also really pretty. And then eventually you reach mile 8. So at mile 8 is what I'll take my first bit of fuel. There's an aid station at mile 8 or right near mile 8. And I'll take my first gel at that point. And it's not long after the 8. It's either right before 8 or right after 8. I think it's got to be right after 8, where the marathoners and half marathoners split. So I'll be running with a couple of runners that are doing the half. So hopefully for that first 8 miles, we are running the same pace and just kind of chatting and just let the miles just kind of just roll by. You know, before you know it, we're at 8 miles. That's the goal. That happened one year at San Diego Rock and Roll Marathon when I ran with a buddy of mine, and he was doing the half. And for the first 8 miles, we just ran shoulder to shoulder and just chatted the whole time. And it felt effortless, yet we were running, I think we were doing like a 7:15 pace. So that's about where I'd love to be for this race too. But then again, the half marathoners split off. They go to the left. The marathoners just keep going straight. and then you're kind of on your own. But I'll get into, you know, that next section, maybe the next vlog. But yeah, miles 0 through 8, a slight gain in elevation, a few punctuated hills along the way. There's all the bands, there's plenty of spectators and people cheering, so a lot of energy. And it's just actually it's a beautiful 8 miles. They've done well with this course and putting the course through. You know, it's not kind of the same scenery. It kind of changes things up a little bit as you go from like neighborhood to neighborhood. So I do love this part of the course. I mean, I love the entire course, but 0 through 8 is a good way to start. So yeah, I guess that's this week. I don't really have much to say regarding this week. I hope if you're training and you're watching this video that your training is going well. And if you like the video, of course, hit the like button. If you can also go to my website, www.surf.run, if you want to get more info. Feel free to comment below. I love reading the comments, and yeah, best of luck in your training, and I will see you my week 13 next week, when tapering, I guess, kind of starts. That's not true. Tapering, like I said, tapering is not going to start until 2 weeks out. So actually these next 2 weeks, I should be peaking. That's the goal. I'm going to be peaking these next couple of weeks. That's the plan. I'm going to, hopefully with the weather getting nicer, getting outdoors and doing a bit more speed work and some progression runs, that I'll feel even better next week about where I am and how I'm progressing. So anyways, Surf Run Channel out. By the way, I wanted to mention this week, in lieu of the fact that my 20-mile runs that I've been doing, which I've done 5 consecutive weekends of 20-mile runs, I haven't been experiencing like any true, like, I don't know, what's the progress or growth or really good results or different results or better results out of these 20-mile runs. I feel like it's been kind of the same result after each one of these runs. You know, if you keep doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results, that's the definition of crazy. So I don't want to do any more long runs the way I've been approaching my long runs for the next few weeks. The goal for the next few weeks for sure is to kind of mix things up, change things up as far as nutrition, change things up in terms of like mechanics, and see if that yields better results. So I had a great conversation with some running buddies yesterday about this. Again, if I keep just going out there doing the same thing over and over and over again, I don't know if that's going to help. Running is so hard. Why do we do it? Why do we torture ourselves? Why do I do this? I've got less than a mile. Just fucking go. Let's just go. Let's just do it. At least we're back on the road. That's not necessarily going to make me, I don't think it's going to make me a stronger, faster runner. It's just going to keep, I'm going to be in like a maintenance mode, I guess. So yeah, we're going to try that this week. We're going to mix things up a little bit, and I'll share what maybe those new variables will be. Again, nutrition is key. There's definitely nutrition and mechanics. Those are the 2 areas that I want to either test out or try or experiment with. Not sure, you know, I need to kind of pay a bit more attention to my mechanics, like how I'm striking, for example, how I'm carrying my arms, my posture, and see if I can improve on that, you know, and see if I can be a bit more efficient in how I run. And if you're out there for 3 hours running, any little bit is going to help. It's going to shave maybe minutes off my time if probably done correctly. I think biomechanically, I'm a pretty efficient runner, but I just want to assess that. And if I see any areas for improvement, I'm going to incorporate that into this next week's worth of training. Nutrition is also key. I need to definitely stay more hydrated and get some more protein, you know, focus a bit more on the macronutrients, and hope that once again, I feel always fueled, because that could also be one of my issues with these training runs, is that I feel a bit under-fueled in the last quarter. Those last 5 miles, I just feel a bit empty. So we need to correct that. So I need to kind of come up with a good solution for that. But anyways, that's just one thing I'm going to do differently in this next week.